you so much for watching, listening. Oh my goodness, totally want you, to subscribe because we have great content, really cool interviews, and the jokes are nothing but spectacular, kind of, maybe. So here's your joke for today. What does a shark like to eat with peanut butter? Do you think about it? Jellyfish. Yeah, I know. That's lame, but we start low and then we move into things that are very fantastic. So we're starting a new series called Dining with Jesus. So I was thinking about this because I did a series, Journeys with Jesus. We talked about walking, swimming, riding with Jesus. We did kind of travel with Jesus, and now we're doing dining. So I don't know about you, but I think it would be like amazing to have dinner, breakfast, snacks, tea, crumpets, scones, whatever you want to call it, with Jesus. Like time with Jesus over a meal. Spectacular. And that's what this series is. Spectacular, because who doesn't want to have a meal with Jesus and have some good, just relaxed chit chat? I bet you might think of a couple questions you would have to ask Jesus. Well, we're going to look at the places where Jesus did meals in the Gospels. And the first one we're looking at today is the wedding at Cana of Galilee. And so this is in John chapter 2, verses 1 to 10. And in this scenario, Jesus is new into his ministry. He comes to a wedding feast, and the story goes that they had run out of wine, which was, like unheard of. It was socially unacceptable. And so Jesus' mother, Mary, comes to him and says, hey, by the way, do your Jesus stuff and make some wine. And he says to her, woman, my hour is not now. And, that's just his own little story. But Jesus, I love what Jesus does, because we know he talks to the servants and they have these giant water jugs, and he tells them, fill them to the rim with water, to the brim, all the way to the top. And they do. And then he says, take some of the water and serve it to the leader, the master of the feast. And the servant does that. And that when the master tastes the wine, the master's like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. You guys have did this topsy-turvy. In fact, usually you start off with the best wine and then you graduate to the worst wine. So after everybody's a little less attentive, they don't necessarily know the difference. But you started with the best. How is that possible? And that's interesting with Jesus, because this is the first miracle he did, recorded miracle. And it's interesting that I thought about that. I was like, with Jesus, I always think about he opens the blind eyes, he raises the dead, cripples, walking, and lepers cleansed. I always think of those like very deeply personal miracles that Jesus does. But this very first one, it doesn't have to do with a very personal healing. It has to do with a party, a celebration. And I appreciate as well that this miracle is a transformation miracle. He changes something. And it's not only transformation, but it's also quality. And I love that when we sit down and talk with Jesus, when we have a meal with Jesus, maybe you could bring to him things you want transformed. Maybe there's some things in your life that need to have a quality improvement, quality check. But I think when we consider Jesus participating in our lives, and as we go through this series, Dining with Jesus, one of the first things I'd ask you to consider is, in what ways, what areas of your life do you want Jesus to bring transformation? That's what he did at this wedding feast. He transformed, turned the water into wine. He took something that was common, regular, customary, and he transformed it into something very, very unique, special, high quality, and spectacular. And I think that's true, that Jesus can do that for all areas in our lives. And I would like those transformations to be instantaneous, miraculous like that, but sometimes I think Jesus also does transformation incrementally. And maybe some of that is with our own involvement, our own permission. I like that Jesus is conscientious. He doesn't necessarily override our boundaries. And a lot of times we have boundaries. Jesus, I want you to do this, but not this. So maybe in your life, think about some areas that you want transformation, and then consider as well, are there some permissions? Do you need to kind of let down your guard a little bit for Jesus to come in and do some of those transformations. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Of course, you want to share, like this series. It's going to be really powerful. Hit the notification bell right there. We'll keep you posted when we have new content. And then I've been alluding to this, but in the comments, I want you to answer this question. What area do you want Jesus to transform in your life? Could be your finances, could be a job situation, could be in your family, could be emotional issues, could be some relationships. Lots of it. What is one area? Just list that right now. And we'll catch you next week as we continue our series, Dining with Jesus.